Welcome to the CFO Corner. I'm your host, Nick Ezzo. In the CFO Corner, we sit down with CFOs and corporate finance professionals to hear about the innovative approaches and technology they use to scale and grow their organizations. They share the challenges they're facing, along with handling those routine, mundane, repetitive tasks. They give their takes on what they'd like to see in the corporate finance function that can help CFOs and CEOs achieve a stress-free working life. I'm pleased to be joined by Ryan Belcher. Ryan is the founder and CEO of Spendwise, a business spend management software company with over 500 customers, managing billions of dollars in spending through its system. He also has a consulting practice that specializes in providing executive financial services to business. Previously, Ryan was the corporate controller at FoxHollow Technologies Inc, a publicly traded medical device company, and has worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, an accounting and management consulting firm that we all know, in the insurance and business advisory practice. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks, Nick. Great to be with you.
Well, first of all, can you tell us about your current role?
Yeah. As you mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of Spendwise. So Spendwise is online spend management software for business and other organizations. What our software does is it allows our users to manage the procure to pay cycle, purchase requests, purchase orders, keeping track of what gets received on purchase orders, and sort of the spend management side of the business. And then, as you mentioned, I do some consulting, finance and accounting consulting for startup and other businesses.
So having worked alongside CFOs and actually, providing solutions for the office of the CFO, how do you think that the role of the CFO has changed in the last 5 or 10 years? And where do you see it heading in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so I think technology has been, I would say over the last 5, 10, and even beyond that, has been a big part of the evolution in the CFO's role. So I think just understanding technology more, figuring out where to invest in technology and implementing technology. So I think that has been an area of change, and I think will continue to be an area of change. Work from home, I think, is also an area, kind of just trying to manage that remote workforce is another big change that we've seen over the last few years.
Yeah. So when you think about technology and, how the CFO has to be keen on technology, that's the thing that they in the past, they just had to know, ones and zeros or debits and credits, does everything tick and tie at the bottom of the balance sheet or the cash flow? But now they have to be versed in really kind of all of the organization to be able to understand like marketing and how they marketing spend and what is that going to do and ROI and things like that. So what are some of the more disruptive technology trends that you've seen in the last few years?
Yeah, so I think one that I've seen sort of close to our space is spend management, the payment card. So we've seen a lot of innovation there. I think it used to be the case that you just go to American Express or maybe use the credit card that's available through your bank, and not a lot of online tools. And so I think there's been a lot of innovation there. And that's sort of something that we're working on right now. AI obviously has been, in the news a lot and is an area of innovation. I've experienced that a little bit sort of on the audit side. So companies I've worked for or worked with more on the consulting side of things who've been audited by PwC or other accounting firms out there. Yeah, it just seems like there's more and more automation coming into play there. And so I think AI has been and will continue to be a disruptive force.
Very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, and with respect to technology. And it seems to me that nowadays there are technical solutions, technology, like for example, what your company offers, that allows small and medium-sized businesses to have that same kind of power and control that the large enterprises had. Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think cloud has helped a lot with that. And so you do have, everyone knows QuickBooks and maybe Bill.com. And so these are companies that sort of cater to those smaller businesses, and they're at the price point and sort of that where small businesses can afford them and are not too difficult to implement. And so smaller businesses are able to automate certain parts of like the accounts payable, accounts receivable process, whereas in the past it's been larger businesses. I would say on the procure to pay side, that's actually why I started Spendwise. I wasn't seeing a lot of innovation. You did have, companies out there like Ariba, Coupa that, sort of serve the Fortune 500 and really large organizations. And so it was sort of this idea, hey, we're experiencing the same problems, but we can't afford to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars implementing a spend management system when we're using QuickBooks, for example, for our accounting. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think there has been a lot of innovation, and it's been fun to be part of that.
Yeah, it seems like it allows these small companies to scale and grow and really compete with some of the larger companies. But I got to ask the question, since we're talking about technology, will robots take away accounting jobs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think they will take away some accounting jobs and already have. I still think, sort of some of the more strategic elements of the finance and accounting role, and sort of judgment elements. So it's kind of hard for a robot to maybe understand, hey, this, if you're selling widgets, hey, which ones are sort of going to be phased out, which ones are being scrapped and so forth. And so just, coming up with estimates. And there's also a lot of accounting rules coming out. It's hard for humans to keep up with all the different accounting rules. And there's a lot of nuance in the rules. So I think there's, a lot of, still a lot of opportunity ahead for humans in the finance and accounting profession.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. I think that what I'm hearing more these days is this combination of machines and humans working together. So just for example, the regulations changing that you just mentioned, it's hard for a person to keep all that in their head, but you could ask an expert system, tell me about the new regulations, or how does this, affect my business or whatever. And I think humans and machines working together, I think is the near-term future that we're looking at.
I think that's right. And I think it speaks to sort of what, CFOs and other accounting and finance professionals will be doing in the future. Someone has to program the machine. Someone has to make sure that, the parameters or how you want the machine to work are set up properly. And so I don't know, maybe in the future, machines will be setting up the machines. But for now, it seems like, machines rely a lot on humans to get things right.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about your auditing practice, your consulting side of things, because I always want to get to find out, everybody knows that there's errors in financial data. To say that there are no errors at all would be putting your head in the sand. So how do you as a CEO, and how should CFOs and business leaders be thinking about, are there errors lurking in my financial data?
Yeah, that's a great question. And CFOs and controllers spend a lot of time reviewing financial results and sort of, I know for me at least, there's a certain amount of paranoia where it's like, gosh, I gotta, make sure everything's right. And you're kind of making sure that everything ties out and, doing some analytical analysis. And so I think there's definitely opportunity for machines, robots, AI to help out with that and just sort of highlight, kind of in an audit function, highlight, okay, here's an area of risk, here's an area of focus. And so, I think there's a lot of opportunity there to kind of save time and decrease some of the stress that comes with being responsible for those numbers.
Yeah, for sure. There's one thing that AI and machine learning that's good at is anomaly detection and being able to sort through terabytes of data to find hidden trends and things that human beings would not be able to easily spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And on our side of things, I think it's sort of, and this is something that we're interested in, sort of looking at spending and, especially for larger organizations, and just saying, hey, we've got, all these thousands and thousands of transactions. Which ones are the ones that are risky? Which ones, should we be putting our attention to? And kind of let everything that's normal, you want some review there and maybe some level of audit, but sort of help you focus on where the risk is.
Well, I'm going to leave you with the last word, so I'll just open it up for Ryan. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, I would just say embrace change. It's coming. It's always been an important part of every profession, including accounting and finance. And so, embrace it. Look for technologies. Look for ways to make things easier and better for your company and your employees.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Ryan, for being here today on behalf of Auditoria, the CFO Corner team, and my army of robots. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Nick. Appreciate it.